paint the scene. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 6th game in the 4th Masters series. We have 2 old faces with Sabine and Mikhail, but we're now joined today by David and Gerwin as new players. So, we'll go round first, I think, and have everyone introduce themselves, their preferred pronouns. And I'd like you, as you say that, to just quickly tell me what you're looking to get out of today's game. What would good look like to you? So I'm going to go in order of the character keeper, if it will load me. So Tiger Eye is first.
Yay! Hi, I'm Sabine. I use any pronouns, and I am going to play Tiger Eye. He is a rebel of the rebels of the Hidden Valley. He is the son of the his father used to be the custodian of the province we were in the first series, and now he has avenged him, but found out that there were still problems because the emperor is only one of the 4 masters, so he's the false master. So we have decided to go and overthrow him for new 4 masters, which we should determine at one point, I guess. We have found already one of the swords of the 4 masters, and that is broken but needs to be repaired. And now we are looking, I think, for the sword of the 2nd master. But we are getting sidetracked all the time by our personal agendas, or because there are people who need help, or because of, things, really.
Good. Thank you very much. And Sabine, if there's one thing you would like to try and achieve today for Tiger Eye, what is that?
I don't know, maybe find some new allies, maybe, or for Tiger Eye to have more conversations with his dead lover, or
or current lover that stabbed you meanly at the end of last session.
Oh, right, I'm still wounded, right? I would like for him to be patched up at one point.
That would be good as well. And next we have Ping, the Dirty Fist.
Yeah, I am Mikael, my pronouns are they, them. I'm playing Dirty Fist, also, previously known as Ping, I guess, but most of the characters seem to address her by Ping anyway, given that they knew her before her more now currently swooning reputation. She's the unorthodox, and I don't know, seems to be like the character who is not that entangled into like this old hierarchy of nobility and stuff like that, and keeps being surprised by how hung up people are in that still, even if they want to rebel. I think what I am looking to see out of this session is to see if I can find my sibling, even though I promised Tiger Eye I wouldn't.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. And we welcome Gowan to our group, who's playing Iron Armed Penitent.
I'm playing Iron Armed. My name's Gerwin, pronouns he, him. I'm playing Iron Armed Penitent, pronouns he, she, her. She's the daughter of one of the foremost generals in the Empire, one of the Imperial generals who was betrayed by the Emperor, who saw him as a threat to his power. As a result of this, she's changed her name from Iron Arm Cheng to Iron Arm Penitent, and now wanders around trying to overthrow the master who has treated her family so poorly. She has declared vengeance against the Empire in the name of her dead father and her dead brothers, and is currently hunted by her old unit. I'm hoping to actually have a showdown with them at some point during today's session, if that's convenient.
I I think something like that can be probably established. I think you're going to fit right in with this bunch of rebellious so-and-sos. I'm not so sure about the other next character, though. So, Clear Sky. Tell us about Clear Sky, David.
You muted, David.
So I am. Yes, hi, I'm David. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Clear Sky, who is in the loyal playbook, specifically the official core move. So Clear Sky is a junior magistrate serving the imperial bureaucracy and the governance of the province. He is perhaps beginning to question the orders he's given, but for the time being, he is a dutiful servant of the powers that be.
Excellent. So I've got a couple of questions for Gawain and David in a second. And what would you like to? What would good look like for you today, David?
I'm really just looking to kind of, get a feel for the world and see what it's all like. In particular, I guess, seeing some of that tension between duty and personal feelings come up would be cool, and I'm sure it will.
Awesome. I would like to suggest for Clear Sky that his guard and retinue is actually Iron Armed Penitent's former unit and
that makes sense.
fellow soldiers. Do we want to name them now before we move any further? When I've got a cool name for this elite unit that protects Clear Sky.
Do you want to name them, Dave, or?
You can if you wish. Otherwise, I'll come up with something. Yeah.
The Iron Spider Archers.
Lovely. I see them wearing maybe spider masks rather than the traditional dragon masks that the servants of the Empire wear. Okay, it's just worth probably just pointing out some of the entanglements we already have in play because they may be of use to you. Ming is not likely to come up probably for the characters. She's dead and a ghost and lives in Tiger Eye's sword now because Tiger Eye managed to get her killed. Poor Tiger Eye. We also have Moonsworn Heart, who was introduced last time into this game. Moonsworn Heart is the Emperor's Blade and the finest swordsperson in all of the provinces. She got into a fight with Tiger Sly at the end of last game and managed to injure her. Ping mentioned her sister, Crystal Willow, who when was separated, elder sister, wasn't it, I believe, Mikhail, and separated when you were much younger.
Yeah, she was an unlicensed martial arts practitioner, pretty much. Which, because the previous when the previous rule was instated, it was illegal for anyone else than the ruling class to practice martial arts, and so she escaped.
I've hidden some others, but bring them back in. Tiger Eye is also traveling at the moment with someone called Scarlet Mantis, who is going to help Tiger Eye find Sable Serpent, who betrayed Tiger Eye and finally sort out the duplicitous snake that he is. At least that's what she's told him.
Yeah, but I think that we can shelve that for a bit until Leandro, who plays Sable Serpent, is back.
I think that's absolutely right, unless anyone wants to form a relationship with Scarlet Mantis as an NPC. It's a she. We will definitely leave Moonlit Raven out for the time being, but the other one that is potentially of relevance is Huao Bao, who is one of the merchant princes of this nomadic people. Just in case that helps people with their relationships as we build through this. But let's shoot through some additional establishing questions just to paint this area a little bit more and give everyone a chance to add a little bit more to it. So I realized that we didn't name this skytop province. So up in the mountains where there are little trees in that respect, you can see right across the valleys. Your cover is more the cloud and mountain paths, but we haven't named the province. So David, I'm going to ask you to name the province for us.
Yeah, I think the province is called the Fields of Heaven.
Awesome. So we will today's session will take place in a ghost festival, which is a traditional part of Chinese culture. I've put a link to in the chat window if anyone hasn't seen one of these before, but it felt as a way of bringing people together and showing this place. So the nomadic tribes of the province have come together for their annual Gold Festival. And I want to paint some of the scenes and some of the provinces. So Gerwin, how do they venerate the dead in this group of people?
I think that they actually build large bonfires on the top of the mountains and have large fireworks displays going off from them.
Lovely. David, what's eaten here, and what is tribute is given to the ghosts from the food?
Yeah, so I think the food that's sort of given in tribute is a sort of just a sort of quite a simple broth. Not much, sort of probably a sort of meat broth, quite heavily spiced, but not like a thick soup sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is left out in veneration to the ancestors, and the obviously, the after by the end of the festival, all of the soup in the bowl has been drunk by the spirits.
Wonderful. What about the humans, the normal folks then? What's being prepared and sold?
Yeah, so I think the kind of the delicacies that are being sold on the at the festivals are kind of breads and pastries and stuff that's made with flour that's a bit more expensive here because it has to be kind of imported in and brought up the mountains. There's little suitable land for growing sort of fields of wheat in.
Awesome. Mikhail, incense is being burnt all over the place here. It's got a floral smell to it. What does it remind Ping of?
I think previously this was pretty normal all over China. This incense from this place, actually, they used to burn it like festivals and stuff. But that stopped after the trade got much less after the new regime took over. So I think that Ping hasn't smelled this smell in a long time, but it reminds her of childhood, like the festivals in the cities and stuff like that.
So is it just short on supply or forbidden?
I don't think that. I imagine it being much more like people don't trade these kind of luxury commodities as much anymore. So I just think you can't get it anywhere.
Okay.
I don't really think it's explicitly. Well, maybe it is actually. Yeah, let's say it is. I think that's cool. Like it wasn't at first, but then there were some people who were like used it as a sign of resistance to burn this instance, and now it is forbidden.
Cool. I like things like that because I can all turn into a nice little hook for wine. Right. What are the burial traditions of these nomadic peoples, Sabine?
I have seen that you've put the burial traditions question down the other questions. So we have 2 questions about that.
Yeah, don't worry. I asked because I realized I had one too many questions, so I changed something. So ignore line 15. I'm just going to delete it.
All right. No, it's no problem because I have an idea anyway. Because I don't know about the normal burial traditions of the nomadic people, but there is a tradition at the Ghost Festival once a year. There is this huge gong, and once a year it will be beaten, and it would sound out a huge sound at the beginning and at the end of the festival. And it's said that at the beginning, if you beat it at the beginning, then the ghosts will come to visit. If you beat it at the end, then the ghosts will go wherever ghosts are supposed to go. Okay. Like it's opening the gate.
Excellent. So the gong.
And it has to be beaten by people who are either wear very a special helmet so you can beat this gong because it's so loud. You have to wear this helmet.
So they have to wear a special helmet to bang the drum.
Yeah.
Lovely. So, Gowan, performers earn coin on the streets, on the streets, this nomadic encampment. Which artists caught your army, and what were they doing?
Sorry, which artist caught my army?
Caught your eye.
Sorry,
So,
I misheard. I think there's kite makers, people that are basically painting elaborate kites. They fly from the mountaintops. So you get kite dancers. Basically, people using the lift from kites to basically go up in the air and perform routines on the ropes dangling beneath them.
Excellent. Could you name the kite dancer specifically who did catch your eye? You want to take a look at the name sheet if you want to.
First blossom of spring.
Wonderful. So the tradition is that on the first day of the festival, likely when, as Tiger Eye has described, the gong is banged, the doors to a temple, and for this, I think this is actually a door that stands at the center of the camp that has been placed up by the troops. There's no specific temple around it. It is banged, and then the door opens to the hell or the underworld. So at sunset, what unexpectedly came out, Tiger Eye?
Well, the usual, I think, ghost kind of feeling came out, but what also came out, it's not really all that significant, but there was a slight, not an avalanche, but some stones were tumbling out of the gate. And that's unusual because there is no steep incline or anything behind it. Just these little round stones came tumbling out. And of course, this is seen as a sign, and people are debating now what that means.
And Mikael, a priest befriended you on the travels on the long journey to this gathering place. What sage or holy advice did they give? I'd like to name them as well.
I think they gave me an advice of trying to be patient. I mean, I don't think we talked particularly about what, but for some reason they found it prudent to tell me that. I think let's see a name. I think his name is Son of Stone.
Excellent. So, to one other NPC that should be brought in, we identified there was Eagle Sentinel, who is one of the bandit queens or bandit princess in the area as well. There's a lot of banditry on the road. But here, as you've come together for the Ghost Festival, this is a deeply religious place and a deeply religious moment. So all struggles and conflicts are put to the side, and those people who may be rivals or enemies would meet here safely. At least that's what's supposed to happen. So we just need to go then and review our entanglements and highlight the one that you think is most relevant to you. So Tiger and Ping, can you decide if there's anything you want to change?
I believe David and I actually need to establish our entanglements.
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that. Yeah, so it's just for those two, if they've got any changes they want to make, and then for David and Gowan to make sure that you have established them. Now we've painted the world and introduced some of the pillars around it to you a little. So what's easiest to do in what order? Maybe if we start with Iron Armed Penitent and Clear Sky picking and filling their entanglements to begin with, which could be pointing at one of the PCs or the NPCs as you see fit. So Iron Armed Penitent, should we work through yours first?
Certainly. My first one is a prophecy has kept blank and I apart. Blank is determined to ensure that. David, how do you feel about Clear Sky and Iron Armed Penitent actually having been close while in Imperial service?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, brilliant.
So if you've known this apart, Moonsword Heart wants you to stop coming back together. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, my family was torn down because the Emperor perceived us to be a threat. I think this prophecy actually links in with that.
Okay. Grand.
And, as the foremost blade of the Empire and the servant of the Emperor, Moonsworn Heart has been given instructions to ensure that we don't team up.
Excellent. Then let's do one from Clear Sky, and then we'll rotate through from there. So Clear Sky, let's set.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, I'm unmuted. Good. So yeah, I was going to go for there is mutual unrequited love between myself and Blank, because of my duty to, and you know, my duty will essentially be to, I guess the Emperor, or however we're wanting to define kind of the overall power structure, or a specific member of it. I was wondering, I guess I could sort of double down on the link with Iron Armed Penitent with that one, or if there is someone else. When I was first putting this one in, I was considering maybe Crystal Willow, or if there's another player who wants to step into that role. Any of those could work, I think.
Yeah, I was thinking it would be cool if someone had a relationship to Crystal Willow, so to get some entanglements there. We have some like a good triangle of drama.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome. Tiger Eye, any of your entanglements, do you wish to
Yeah.
switch or change any of them?
Yeah, I would like to keep the whole Ming thing,
Mhm.
but the Sable Serpent, I would I put it in parentheses because that will come back when Leandro's back, but right now it's not really relevant,
That's true.
sadly. So I would like to have as I wrote, I would like to have an entanglement with Clear Sky, and that maybe like once when we were young and before the whole upheaval happened, we used to be friends maybe, but now somebody is telling me that he is evil and should be killed, and I think that might be Scarlet Mantis.
Scarlet Mantis.
Because I mean, right now we can't go after Sable Serpent, so she might try to get me to murder other people just to get me in the habit of listening to her or something like that.
Scarlet Mantis is all wrong then. Right. But yeah, I think that would be cool. David, are you cool with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Ping.
I'm good with all of mine, actually.
Okie dokie. Lovely. Iron Armed Penitent. Let's do your second one.
Okay. Sorry, just 1 second. Sabine, can I just confirm what your new entanglement is? How does it read?
I'm just typing. It would be Clear Sky used to be my friend, but Scarlet Mantis tells me I should kill him for being a bad person.
Okay.
Or being a servant to the Empire.
In which case, then that makes my next one very easy. My friend, Tiger Eye, suspects Clear Sky of evil, but I remain steadfastly loyal.
I like that. Yes, very cool.
So you two have met as different members of the rebellion sometime in the time that has passed on this mountainside then? Or this mountain.
I think so, yes. Iron Armed Penitent is a maker of things. In addition to being an archer, that she's very much an inventor, a craftsperson. She makes special arrows that she uses in her martial form, and she's very much trained as a metalsmith. And I think, Sabine, you carry the sword of is it the first master that you carry, or?
No, I don't actually. Green Owl did not get that sword to me. I carry my own swords. But
okay.
maybe you are. Do you know anything about the healing arts? Because I'm badly wounded and I need an apothecary or a physician or something like that.
We can say that I do. So yes, poisons and potions and.
Good. Okay. Clear Sky, for your final entanglement. David, are you with us there? You're muted.
Yeah. No, I was miles away. Yes, so I've gone for Blank. My rival has sworn to kill me, but I have promised Blank that I will not harm them. I feel like anyone could have sworn to kill me, to be honest. So if there are any volunteers.
Maybe Scarlet Mantis did, and we know that Scarlet Mantis is the sibling or the sister of Moonshorn Heart, isn't she? David, am I getting this right?
Yeah.
I'll go back to my notes. So everybody's married or revealed or in love with or just pretending to be everybody, which is a good.
It does get incredibly hard to track the entanglements over.
Yes, we did.
Game.
No, in a game to game. I've got to put an NPC sheet onto this. Actually, it's one of my things to do at the end of this game, which has been a busy week. So I track these because that's the thing again with the quarterlies going, oh my god, there's so many characters. Yes, I think that's right. Moonsworn Heart, and I said I'm going to establish it anyway. I think that's Moonsworn Heart and Scarlet Mantis are sisters.
Yeah, I think actually for this one, at least one of the people in this needs to be a PC because the other entanglement I've got so far is both NPCs. So
which one of them are you looking for a PC to take? The being the rival or promise not harm them?
I feel like it's probably more interesting if a PC is the one that's sworn to kill me, but I'm also happy if we slot an NPC into that.
Sure, I can take that. I mean, I am the freer of the oppressive. You're Emperor's tool. Also, you're close to my sister. God damn it!
Yeah,
kill you.
And I wonder actually then maybe if it is just looking at these. Yeah, and maybe I've actually sworn to. Maybe I've sworn to Tiger Eye that I wouldn't kill you, that I wouldn't harm you, to build on that relationship.
Yeah, cool.
It would also make sense for Crystal Willow, but then I've got two entanglements targeting her, so I might as well spread it around a bit.
You could have Moonsworn Heart if you want. There would be another possibility there.
Yeah, I think I quite like Tiger Eye as the target for that one. So yeah,
Good. Yeah. Okay. So let us, in that point, I believe we're all ready to go. Grant, then let's go. So I think we will start that everyone is within this sprawling makeshift Burning Man-like encampment where the nomadic tribes from across the province have come together for the Ghost Festival. Large fires have acted as beacons to draw people in. For many of you, you knew you were heading here. For maybe Tiger Eye, who is wounded, and Ping, it was a welcome sign in the empty spaces, knowing that Tiger Eye is still quite wounded from their duel with Moonsworn Heart. But we are all here, and as you enter the encampment, there's a written document that says, "Here all are treated as friends until the door is closed and the following sunset." As you enter, you see signs of, you see what would be dragon warriors with their masks on, some of them taking them off, and you can see the strange twisting disease that we mentioned last time is upon them. But there are nomads, there are imperial forces, and most of your rivals and enemies are here. As you arrive and are brought through for the first time, everyone is given a warm cup of tea and welcomed to this place as friends. Let's pick up first, I think, with Iron Armed Penitent. How does Iron Armed Penitent look? We haven't got a look for Iron Armed Penitent yet. What is their appearance?
There's
First see them.
a photo if you scroll down.
So describe that for anyone who might be listening for the rest of the players.
She is very much in Imperial cut armor, but the actual materials that make it up are different. There's very much a floral motif on it, and very much red, rather than the blacks and the steels that you would have on the Iron Spider archer armor. There are more warm colors. There's reds. There's a hint of gold. She has she wears makeup. Having come from the court, she tries to do the best to present herself in the best light. So she looks exquisite. But her hair is tied back in a bun with a little hat on top. And although she looks courtly, she doesn't look elaborate. Very much serious. There is a bow slung on his shoulder and 2 quivers on her back with arrows that come up either side that frame her face.
Wonderful. So you've been here for a few hours perhaps and have stopped from the long travel. The people who are also in this inn are quite happily drinking away at the wine. It seems that they have donated a few barrels to this place. They're all dressed in mismatched armor and clothes, the sign that they have obviously picked up various bits and pieces in different conflicts. They are singing bawdy songs and seem to be primarily led in chorus by a rather tall but rotund man called Huai, who is singing along. Huai approaches you and says, "Sister, will you not drink and sing with us?" They're singing songs about the rebellion and some of its heroes, including Tiger Eye and Green Owl.
She stops for a moment, thinks, pours another glass of another cup of tea, and stands. "I will sing, brothers. You sing of heroes. Let me sing of one that you may not have heard of. I sing of the great general Shui. I sing of victory. I sing of courage. I sing of honor and of betrayal." And she starts into this deep melodic song. It's quite a haunting song. It's a dirge. It's the songs with bawdy. This is one of loss, of regret. And she just lets it carry out over the actual bar itself. She's not in the mood for celebrating, but she's sure to remember those who have fallen.
The room does fall quiet as you sing. By the end, tears are falling down Huai's face. It says, "You have a voice of heaven. So rarely am I moved so. Come, drink with us. Soon we will be joined by my friends."
"I will have one drink to honor you, but I have come to honor my parents, my brothers, my sisters. I cannot do that with a drunken revelry, but I thank you for your offer."
Awesome. I'm going to let you take forward a bond with Huai at this point as well. Let's cut across to Clear Sky and the fact that Clear Sky is with his guard, the Iron Spider Archers. How many Iron Spider Archers are there, Clear Sky?
I think quite a few. I want to say call it 24. I think it's a large for a bodyguard. If small for an army, put it that way.
And whom, after the betrayal of Iron Armed Penitent, now leads this force?
It is Evening Star Chang, Iron Armed Penitent's former second in command.
Are they? What gender identifier would you like to give them?
I think he's a man. Yep. Very much a career-minded individual, shall we say?
Where do we find Clear Sky then, as you're in this makeshift town?
So I think we find Clear Sky is actually changing out of his official magistrate's robes and the and slipping into more discreet clothing, so that he can mingle with the residents of this town without immediately drawing suspicion or antagonism. I think maybe the archers themselves are camped just a little bit outside the sort of the town itself, maybe sort of on a little bit further down the mountain, perhaps a little switchback. And, yes, and he's dressed in. He's removed his sort of official robes, and he's wearing just kind of fairly nondescript travelers wear, though he still has his long dark hair tied back into a formal braid. He's quite, as I said, he's relatively young, certainly for the position he holds. He has a sort of, well, there is definitely that sense of command to him and control, though with a softness to his eyes as well. And he is, I think, as he enters the town, he is mostly unarmed, though he does have a fan thrust through the belt of his traveling robes.
Evening Star Chang approaches you as you approach the just before you cross the threshold, and puts an arm on your shoulder to stop you from progressing. Scouts have told me that many of our enemies are amassed here. Iron Armed Penitent is here. Tiger Eye is here.
And I hope to bring them in quietly without the need for bloodshed, Chang. I know Iron Arm. She is an honourable woman, and I have no doubt that she will not break the sanctity of this place, and neither will I. You are to remain with the men. If I need to withdraw from this place, I will come and meet you. But I can handle this.
These are superstitions of old ghosts. The masters are ended. The emperor's rule is all that matters. These treaties mean nothing to us, surely. We could go in, we could wipe out the rebels of the mountains and the valley in a single strike. Release us.
Fighting fire with fire only spreads the devastation. We must face rebellion with order if we are to ever end the threats against the Empire. Jang.
I'm going to ask you for hearts and minds there, please.
Certainly. I think that this is probably I'm going to say I'm going to go with Earth here, actually. I think just for kind of trying to impose not impose my will, but, stand strong in my convictions.
Okay.
That's a 7.
7 and 9. You can instead choose to reveal, overact, hesitate, or alienate them. So overact, you gain a bond. Hesitate, you get +1 forward. Alienate, you choose animosity between them and someone of your choosing. And reveal, you could ask 2 questions.
Yeah. I think I will go for revealing something about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I am going to ask does he trust me?
Yes, but not as much as he trusts himself.
Cool. And is he going to follow my orders?
In the fact that he will not, I think he'll tell you in first person. I will abide by your commands. You have a title, sorry.
Probably just magistrate, I think. Yeah.
Abide by your commands, magistrate. But I will not stay with the men. I will stay with you. That is my sworn duty, and you may not ask me not to.
Very well, Jang. Your loyalty is a credit to you. Let us enter. And I will kind of give him a short nod and step over the threshold into the town.
As you step over, you can smell the incense. Almost you couldn't behind the barrier, but it seems to be here and pungent and poignant everywhere. But one step away, you could smell nothing. Tiger Eye and Ping. Tiger Eye is still wounded. Scarlet Mantis is trained in healing arts and is able to stabilize the wounds. He's impressed by how clean the cut is. A less careful swordsperson would have killed you with that single stab. But you are not necessarily in a great way, Tiger Eye. How is Ping supporting Tiger Eye on the trek down from the mountainside?
Are you letting on that you are as hurt as you are, Tiger Eye?
Probably not. I mean, you know that guy, he is mostly like, I am stoic and strong and will not say that I'm suffering until I collapse. Because that's probably what happens at one point. He's like, oh, this is fine, it's just a little cut. And then before we even reach the Ghost Festival, he just can't go on. Literally can't.
Yeah, I think like what's been going on is probably that Ping just like gave you like a walking stick or something like that, and just assumed you're okay enough to walk, and then suddenly when you like stop, she's very surprised. It's like, what? Wait, are you really hurt?
No. I just need a little short, and then I think he just topples over and loses consciousness for a bit.
Yeah, and I think is this in the start of the city or something like that?
Very close to. Let's say you're close to. You have obviously some of your people that you can carry Tiger Eye in, but Tiger Eye is not in a good way.
Yeah.
No, I think when you push back his robes or whatever he wears, I mean, he's wearing black usually, but you can see the blood coming, there's fresh blood on his robes.
Yeah, and I think Ping has like some idea of how to deal with like that kind of thing, but not more than like stop the bleeding. So I don't know if you want me to roll for that, but I think like just putting on some pressure and making it stop bleeding is not that hard. So
no, I won't let you roll for that. That's fine.
So I think Ping just does that and says, "Well, I'm gonna carry you then."
And I'm going to ask you for a comfort or support.
Okay. I think perhaps. I think perhaps that is with metal then. Some carrying. And that's 9 plus 0, yes, so 9.
So on a hit, they may accept your words and can clear a checked element or gain a bond with you. On a 10 plus, you ask an additional question. Yeah. So using this to potentially clear an element from Tiger Eye. Well, how does Tiger Eye react?
I think the second that he is conscious again, he will, of course, use his move that he's not. Heroes shed no tears, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's like when you reject someone's comfort, love, friendship, love, or support, clear an element and take a bond with them. So I will say thank you, Ping. I can. I apologize for this weakness. I can move on my own now, but it is appreciated.
I think Ping look like tilts her head and looks at you. And says, you really, you don't like to get help, do you?
I do not like to impose on other people. I believe I can do this for myself.
Ping nods. Well, let's get into the city and get you some. And I think she's about to say help and says some assistance instead.
Someone to sew up the cut on my side would be appreciated, for sure.
Yeah, and we walk into the city, I think.
Yeah, maybe a bit slower than he usually walks, but he's trying not to let on how much that hurts. And actually, that Ping was there, that helps, even if he didn't accept the help. But it's like, okay, there, I'm not alone. I don't need anybody, but it's nice to know that somebody's there.
Wonderful. Let's say you head into the town, and as you approach, when you get into the city again, same for you. When you're outside, you can smell nothing. You can just see the smoke curling into the sky. But when you step over the threshold, you can smell the incense. You can hear the people in discussion. You can hear revelry in some places and prayer in others. There's a crowd of people moving, and as you head towards where you agreed to meet Hui and the rest of your gang, you, Tiger Eye, are sure you spot Ming walking through the crowd and looking directly at you.
Ghost Festival, right. I forgot that.
So enter in. Did Iron Armed Penitent keep to her plan to just drink 1 cup of wine?
I think so. Yes. She'll basically be nursing it all night, but she will drink it and make a show of drinking it.
Good. Hui has not had 1 glass of wine or 1 cup of wine. He has had many cups of wine, and when you get in, the singing is getting increasingly anti-imperial, and he's barely standing, swaying, holding himself up by one of the pillars of this tent. He raises his hands as Tiger Eye arrives and says, "Ha! It is the hero Tiger Eye."
Well, Tiger Eye's a bit out of it, I guess, because he's seen Ming and he's dealing with his wounds, and he's like, oh, hey. Maybe not shout it out quite that loudly. We don't know if the Imperials will keep to the ceasefire.
Tiger Eye. Iron Armed Penitent will stand. Are you okay? And I'll step forward. I can see the gauntness in your face and the fact that you're just holding on.
I
for a seat.
I have. I took a sword to the side, I guess. It's not bad, but I would like to sit. Yes, thank you.
Then come, sit.
Yeah.
May we I'll turn to the innkeeper and drop out a few coins in front. May we have a private room, please?
Shrugs and starts moving around some of the as private as he can. This is a large tent that has been put up. He clears out, but he sort of shoves it up.
I was going to say, could we have some of those walls, some paper walls style things?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. He's moving around to close you off.
Sit, Tiger Eye.
Sitting.
Where did this wound come from? What sort of blade?
Sword. It was a sword, or what did she use?
It was a sword. It was a Chinese longsword. What's the name? A bow blade. Yeah. Oh, Jan? Yeah.
Yeah. Bow's the saber.
Saber. Sorry. Then it was. Yeah, it did establish it as a bow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has it been treated?
Vaguely. What could have been done has been done. We were in the mountains.
Sit. Let me pour you a drink.
Yes.
And I'll empty the little teapot that I've got there, and call for some more water. And when it comes back, I will start mixing up a remedy that I'll put and a few leaves that I'll break into the teapot myself and pour you a drink.
I'm looking at you. You are not part of the What was the name of that sect? Blossoming Lotus Sect or something like that?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, you are not part of the Blossom Lotus Sect, because I've learned recently that the friend I had was.
No. No, I'm
Good.
not.
I will trust
We
you.
are friends. We are friends.
That's what I thought about this other person too.
The one who stabbed you.
No, she's not my friend, Percy. And I provoked it. She
I
is
would never.
the first sword of the Emperor, and I wanted to go somewhere where she didn't want me to go.
She is here.
Oh.
She's nearby.
Yes, I think so.
Drink. And I'll pull my bow slightly closer to myself.
I will drink.
So that's a comfort and support from Iron Armed Penitent, please.
Okay. So, given that when I generated the dice, they came up double one, I hope I'm going to get better rolling during the day. So that is a 9.
I don't know if you haven't got a bond with. Have you got a bond with?
No, I don't.
Okay. So on a 9, it's hit. If they accept your wounds, they can clear a checked element or gain a bond with you. How will Tiger Eye respond this time?
I think he will let her treat him, because he knows that this could end badly. It's not that much of a hero silent suffering type that he will won't go untreated. Words many.
Tiger Eye. Where is the first blade of the Emperor?
Green Owl has it.
No, you misunderstand. Sorry, I'm just going back.
Oh, right. That's forget it. I'm misunderstood.
Where is Moonsworn Heart?
I do not know. She was at the mountain where that stone guy. No, he knows the name of the person. Turbulent Stone, where Turbulent Stone died, the second master. I wanted to go and see what I could find. I'm looking for his sword, but she was on my way, and I could not move past her. I need to train harder.
She is a skilled opponent.
One would.
When I have never succeeded in defeating.
Yes, well, you don't become the first sword of a false master without skill, I guess.
And yet she is here.
Yeah, I do not know if she's at the festival, but probably.
Did she tell you why she has come here?
No, she was just standing on the mountain and telling me that I couldn't go there.
Iron Armed Penitent's hands clenched tightly.
Oh.
I apologize for bringing. No, I apologize for bringing this down on you. She has followed me here still.
Oh.
I may never find peace.
Oh, she
It's my fault. It is my fault that she is here. I can only apologize for this.
I do not blame you. She is her own person. She goes where she wills. She wants. Besides, what you're doing is necessary. Standing up to the Emperor is the right thing to do. Standing up for your father is the right thing to do.
Even so, but me being here has endangered you.
I am always in danger. I avenged my own father's death. That puts me in danger, not your actions.
I do not feel that she will honor the truce of this place.
Oh, I don't know. She is an honorable woman, I feel.
But she has been given orders. Where
True.
does one place honor in piety like that?
Yes, being caught between honor and duty is a difficult situation.
She has followed me here. I must leave you.
I understand. If I can do anything to distract her, I will.
You misunderstand. With your injury, I must leave you for your own safety.
Iron Armed Penitent, I'm not a helpless child.
No, but you have already lost her once today. That resulted in a sting. I do not wish to see more of your bloodshed.
Truth to be told, neither do I. But I suspect I will lose more blood. Because I will not stop fighting the Emperor. Sorry.
Then at least let me draw her away while you recover.
I cannot. I cannot let you face an enemy alone if I could help.
I do not always win. Discretion is the greater part of valor. The true strategist knows which ground on which to fight and which to withdraw.
Okay, so while you've been having this conversation, a young child comes into the tent and is obviously a vagrant or a beggar of some ways. Goes to a few people before coming and stand in front of Ping, holding out a bowl to Ping, and says, would you have alms for a starving vagrant?
I think actually I'm gonna use my move with this here, shadow boxing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the starving. Well, I guess you're already alluding to that, but that the starving vagrants are already kind of here.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks down and says, "Well, for anyone who can tell me where I can find the crystal willow, I always have something to fill your belly." And I guess I can roll on that. So once per session, I can flashbacks to some preparation to fearsome negotiation done on your behalf. That's plus nothing. No. Yes. Oh yeah.
It's usually with an element. If it doesn't say, almost always the answer is with an element.
Yeah, I think with water. That's a 10. So on a 10 plus, they succeed. Yeah, so I guess they know them. So I look down at is it what's your name?
Her name is. If actually the names will come up. Her name is Anne Flee.
Can you write it in chat? Something I should remember. So I think I take her outside, like looking over at where Tiger Eye went with Iron Armed Penitent. I just like shrug my shoulders and they just left without saying anything to me. So I guess I'm just gonna go then. They don't need me anymore. And I go out with them, taking her hand, I think, the aunt's hand, and like go to one of the stalls and go and get like one of these broths. They sell. I mean, they sell. I think they sell all of these kinds of. This is the thing that they sell a lot around this time. There's different kinds of things in them, not only broth, but that's
Yeah.
the staple thing is, and give it to her. So, you know where my sister is, don't you?
Says, yes. We have found her. She's eating a mouthful of food as she's speaking to you, not really looking up, as obviously famished, and says, "We have found her. She goes by another name now. She is nom nom, one of the bandit princesses, Eagle Sentinel. She is looking for you as well. She has information about Green Owl. She does not seem to know that you are her sister, mind you." And she looks up and says, at the empty wrapper of food, and says, "I have one more secret for one more meal."
I smile at them and say, "You play this game well, Lei. You deserve another meal. What do you want?"
She points at some of the fruit and says, "It is not for me. It is for my brother, or at least half of it is."
Well, I pay for the fruit and says, "Make sure that he deserves the fruit as well." And look at them. Well, now tell me.
She looks at the fruit and puts a piece of the apple into her mouth and says, "Magister Clear Sky is also in the camp in disguise. I overheard that he has brought with him the iron spider archers."
Archers in a city. How foolish of him. Well, thank you. Send my regards to the rest of the starving vagrants. I'll come visit soon.
She nods and bows and is off into the crowd, grabbing another apple from the stall before the shopkeeper knows what has happened. Clear Sky, how have you been making yourself comfortable, or what have you been searching for in this makeshift town that has sprung from the different tribes?
Yeah, so I think that I'm just walking around. I've probably purchased a steamed bun from one of the vendors here. I'm kind of absent-mindedly nibbling at as I walk around the amongst the sort of between the sort of makeshift streets of the town. I think at the moment I'm mostly getting a feel for the place, whilst keeping an eye out for Iron Armed Penitent.
As you're walking through, there is a woman. She wears leather armor on her upper body, covering one arm. She has long, dark hair, which almost seems to be internally in her face and eyes, and dark black silk trousers. She carries 2 swords. You immediately recognize her as Moonsworn Heart, and she walks towards you. She bows.
I will return the bow. My lady, it is an unexpected pleasure to see you here.
And the same for you, Clear Sky. To see one of the Emperor's eyes so far from home is unusual indeed. Have you come for the festivities? Which ghosts will you give penance to?
There are many that I wish to pay my respects to this evening, but that is not my only purpose for being here, as I'm sure you can gather.
Always with your secrets, Clear Sky.
It, even up here amongst the clouds, it is not possible to escape duty. For is it not the highest virtue?
She looks and tilts her head. No. There is the trial, the competition. There is pushing oneself always. I serve the Emperor, for he gives me the greatest challenges. Why do you serve him?
As I say, for duty, for devotion. It is the role I have been given and the role that I will fulfill.
You are nobler than I. She smiles and says, there are a number of the Emperor's enemies here. There will be tournaments and a chance to watch them, to study them. And then when this place goes to the winds, we will meet them again. Or I will, for the final time. Who are you looking for? Tell me.
I have been tasked with apprehending Iron Armed Cheng. That is correct surname, isn't it? Before her net change. Cool. Yeah. And I have been, with the assistance of the good captain and his men, I have been tracking her to through this province.
Iron Armed, it is best that you do not come face to face with that one. Leave him to me. I would consider it a favor. She's offering you a bond.
I will nod and say, alas, I wish that I could, but as I say, it is my duty to see her apprehended, and I must fulfill this. I know we work for to the same end, but you have your orders, also I have mine.
She looks at you coolly and says, she also has an apple and takes a bite and says, how is Crystal Willow?
I would not know, my lady. It has been some time since last we met. I think I'm probably going to roll an inner conflict here, if that's okay.
Yeah, I thought I was about to ask if you wanted to.
And I think I will roll with metal, I think, for this, for control. Attempting not to betray too much on my face. Oh, that's a 10. So yes, I think I kind of managed to sorry, an 11 even, but yeah, I managed to avoid giving too much away. Perhaps Moon Shadow suspects, but I don't think anything on my face betrays it to her.
Then she bows and looks at you and says, "Well, if you do insist on seeking out Iron Armed Penitent, then I must seek out the next on my list." And she nods, giving you a threatening stare.
Excellent. I will
Um,
bow in return, and as she.
Good. It's 11:34, ladies and gentlemen. About halfway through the session, I would suggest at this point we take 10 minutes to caffeinate ourselves. I'll see you back for 1:45.
So I have to ask Sabine, how did you find Wales?
It was amazing. I loved it. People were so friendly and nice, and landscape was amazing. I was in Cardiff, and then I was in Swansea, and there's a sea because I love looking at the sea, and I love those mud flats.
Did you get down? Did you go down to the Gower then, or?
No, I don't think so. I tried to get to Mumbles, but I didn't make it. It was too slow. I had to go barefoot into the sea, and that took a bit of time.
Mumbles used to be notorious when I was a student back in Cardiff. The road that leads here used to have so many pubs and bars along it. Literally, you start at one end and try and get to the other end, and still be on your feet. It used to be known as the Mumbles Mile.
I didn't see it because I was at the beach mostly, and then I was at some place where kids were playing, playground, and a lady came up and she was doing a survey for some public official thing, which she was very nice.
Well, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I'm just bemused by the fact that on the gauntlet there's three Welsh people. So it's me, there's Alan, and obviously Gawain. With that name and that accent, you are definitely Welsh. It's.
I live up in Nottingham, so I don't get to go home very often. But I'm actually planning a trip to Germany next year.
Right.
Where are you going?
I haven't decided yet. I do backpacking as a hobby.
Cool.
I do bushcraft and the like. I think I want to go and spend some time in the Black Forest and.
Oh, that's close to Stuttgart, where I live.
Oh,
actually.
Okay.
So maybe if you're there, we could go somewhere in the Black Forest, the northern Black Forest. That's not very far away.
Oh, that's interesting. I've been looking at the Interrail train tickets to actually go around and do a few places, but we don't have very many large forests in the UK. I live in Nottingham, which is famous for its forest, the Tyward
Yes.
Forest.
Yes, I've heard of it.
It doesn't exist.
No.
Is it gone or?
I think we should probably go back to Mythic China. I'm afraid. This is terms of game time, folks. As fun as conversation is. Yes, Nottingham Forest. When there isn't. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to carry on chatting once we are done. But if everyone's good, we will rejoin. Just a quick health check on everything. Everyone okay? Anyone want to change their wants or asks? Anyone happy or unhappy with anything particularly? Well, good. Right. So I would like to pick up with Tiger Eye, who, though the tea is helping, is sort of coming through a fever, and you can feel a cold compress as you're sitting in this chair against your brow, Tiger Eye. Your eyes are heavy, but you can hear someone say, "Shush, my love, I will take care of you."
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll let go and fall asleep at that point. Did the comfort and support that Iron Armed Penitent gave me, did that heal the wounded condition?
It will. It does, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. You can use it to either remove when wounded or take a checked element back.
No, I will remove wounded.
Yeah.
Seems sensible.
As you sleep, you can hear the haunting voice of Ming singing to you the song that you first heard her sing in the now distant past and the court of the Baozi province. She was young. Her father was still the custodian. But even then, the first time you saw her sing, you felt something for her.
I did, yes. I think I fell in love with her singing. Turned out that she wasn't quite the person I thought she was, but well. That's difficult.
You can hear a whisper, and this voice as she sings and says, "You could put down your swords now. You have served long enough, Tiger Eye. Just pause, and I will sing for you always."
I think part of Tiger Eye is a bit tired of all the fighting. I will roll in a conflict on that. I think I'll roll it with Earth to stay grounded. Oh wow, okay, I've got a 10, so my resolve is actually, what does that mean? I managed to keep myself together. Great. And in that dream, I will lift up my sword, which I have in my hand, and I will tell her, Ming, you never understood. I have to fight for justice. I'm sorry that you cannot understand how important that is to me.
Ming, or the ghost of Ming, looks down and says, "I've always understood that about you, Tiger Eye. But what I fear is when the fighting is done, how much will be left of you? How much will you have given?"
I will give everything to see justice done. And you know that because I gave you up. And I'm sorry for that, but I would do it again.
I said, just cut from that because I just need to 5 seconds, catch my own breath, and I'm going to go back to Ping the Dirty Fist. Where has Ping gone?
To find her sister.
Around one of the largest fires is where Annie told you to find her. You can see shadows are cast down from this fire like there were giants dancing on the hill, but there is strangest thing you see is there are more shadows, possibly dozens more shadows dancing than you can see people by the fire on the mound.
Well, it's a ghost festival, so I guess I don't mind that.
You can see the colors of it's an orange silk with a black stripe in it that those who are loyal to Eagle Sentinel wear. As you approach, there are some of the dancers stop and they look at you and say, "This isn't for you. We dance for our lost."
We all lost someone. What do you know about that?
Said, "I have lost brothers of blood and arms in our rebellion. And who are you? What loss have you got? Tell me a tale, or away with you."
Yeah, and I think I look around to see if I can see my sister while I'm saying this, but I think, well, when I was 10, my father. Well, let me tell you about my father. He was a groundsman of this fighting gym, and my sister was training there too. I wasn't allowed because I was too young, but I always hung around there. And then one day there was, I don't know what happened. I was too young to understand, but someone said that wasn't allowed anymore, and they stormed the gym, and my father was killed. while sweeping the plaza of this place. My sister, she escaped, and she came. Well, I haven't seen her since then. That's 13 years ago, and I've come to maybe see if I can find her ghost here.
I would like you to, for your storytelling, to do an impress for me, please, Mikhail.
Yeah, I think I use fire for that. Let's see. That's 11. Impress on a hit. Yeah. Pick 2 options. Create a bond. I guess I create a bond because I don't have an element marked.
Mm-hmm.
And gain a favor.
So let's make this straightforward and say you actually have a bond with, let's say a bond and a favor with the, if I can find it, with the Eagle Sentinel Bandits.
And I think I look at him. How does he react to this story?
You can see there is he looks at you, so his face softens as you tell the story bit by bit, and at the end he goes, a similar tale to that of Eagle Sentinel. Come, I will show you to her.
I nod. What's your name? And I think I like don't wait for him to answer, but I think you owe me a story as well afterwards.
He nods. I'll name him for you now, but I'll make a note of it. So he leads you towards the fire, and it is a roaring fire. They have built something that say the smoke and the fire, and you can see it lights down into the valleys, and there are others, dozens of smaller fires across the mountain tops and hills and plains. It's quite spooky. But he draws you towards someone, and as she turns to look at you, she doesn't really seem to recognize you at all. But there is a feature on her which, without any doubt, would identify her to be your sister. What is it?
I don't know what is established about her from. I don't remember what is already established, but I think her hair is almost is like white. She doesn't have color in her hair. That's why also her name is what it is Crystal.
Crystal Willow. Does Ping have the similar shock of white hair?
No, it's completely dark.
Really dark. So this woman turns. She is wearing, say, colourful silks. When we last met her, she was masked, so you wouldn't have seen these features. But her hair is flowing, tied back. But she looks and goes, welcome, well met. You travel with Tiger Eye, don't you? And Green Owl. I have information about Green Owl. I've been looking for your band of rebels.
And I think you see Ping take like a deep breath and looks over at her I think like looking at her to gauge like how she would react if Ping just said that what's going on here.
So you're studying her?
Yeah. I think this is just water. I must gauge if I can show my emotions at this time. This is dangerous territory for 7. So 1 for 1.
Yeah.
I think I think I'll just ask that. Would she believe me if I said I was her sister?
Yes. So you could do that. You could ask a question or reveal a detail which declares something that changes to the fiction. So I'm happy for us to say yes, she will. Otherwise, I think it would be a bit of an anticlimax. But yes, if you reveal yourself, though it will shock her, she will react and accept that you're a sister. But what that reaction is, we do not know.
I think I say, well, I think I just ignore what she says and I say, well, last time I saw you, I was getting cleaning away my our father's brooms.
She puts her hand towards her blade and says, "Who are you to speak of my father?"
Yeah, and I think I think actually that of course there is a broom close by, so that Pink can grab it and says, "I am Dirty Fist to you."
Not so much, a broom, but definitely a stick that they've been roasting things on the fire with. So instead of a broom, you have a stick with a chicken on the end.
Yeah. Cool.
She looks at you and your dark hair and her white hair and is taken back to playing as children and looks and says, "Sister?"
Ping nods.
Takes her hand off her sword and falls to her knees, sobbing. Said, "I thought you were lost, gone."
I think Ping like at her emotional response thinks is a bit perplexed, like what to do about how to react to this, and like but goes over and goes on one knee and says, "Well, I was home. It was you who were gone."
She looks up and her eyes are tearful. Says, I did not. Father sent me away. He sent me into service. I came here to study, and then my master was slain. But he has not passed, so I serve him still, and I serve under the mask of Eagle Sentinel. For my name will bring nothing but trouble here.
And I think Ping smiles at her and like takes her, helps her up, and says, "Well, now that we're two, trouble will not be a hindrance."
She looks up at you and says, "But I'm here only to rest for a short time before I return to the Valley of Thousand Ghosts. My master awaits me there. Green Owl also now is with him.
Just to clarify in the fiction, like, is there any reason why Ping should know what's going on there?
I don't think so yet. No, I think that was all off camera. Green Owl was on their own when they went into the mists of 1,000 Ghost Valley.
Yeah. Okay, so Ping says, well, I can't tell you what to do, but I will stay here and topple these ignorant leaders of their throne. Even if I see still holds like her like stick. Even if I do it with a stick with a chicken on the end.
He laughs and stands and said, "My master is turbulent stone. The ghosts of the second master will not depart this place while there is injustice. I'm taking just a short moment for myself, sister. Come, we must celebrate. I will show you. Let's go from here, and I will take you to see my friend. He is also here."
And I think the last thing you see on the scene is like Ping taking like a bite of the chicken.
Also, okay. Let's cut across to Iron Armed Penitent. Where did Iron Armed Penitent go after you left the tavern?
Iron Armed Penitent has basically left the tavern in search of Moonsworn Heart. My intention is to try and actually draw her out to the town and away from the festival to make sure that the others can recover and are not threatened by her while they heal. So I think we when we cut him, there's this picture of Iron Armed Penitent standing on top of a the kites that the dancers dance on the ropes. I think it actually cuts up to the actual top of the town, cuts up to one of these kites, and they're standing in the crane pose, actually on one of the kites themselves, looking down over the town below, the town of tents and everything below. We see Iron Armed Penitent.
You scan across the fires, lights across the night sky. Again, you can see ghostly figures moving across the crowds. You can see occasional gaps in the coldness, but there's always seems to be just a slight circle around as you spot it. Moonsworn Heart. She radiates such power that the crowd literally part around her. You spot her towards the main gate of the temple that has been established here, and she is, it seems, sitting on one of the rocks that fell out of the door.
I think I hop off the actual kite itself and fall down amongst the people.
Mm-hmm.
I make my way to her, and as I make my way, I basically pull a robe that's been hanging out to dry by someone who's a laundry tent that I go past, and pull it over myself and pull the hood up and make my way to the actual gate itself. And
go come.
I'll approach the gate and I will come there and basically put a pot of the broth down in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
I pretend to be praying.
The gate itself just stands. There's nothing on either side, but in it there is a sort of swirling and misty darkness, and you can see again that sitting just a few feet away from you is is Moonsworn Heart. Her head is down, her hand is on her forehead. She seems to be in some form of meditation.
I will mumble a prayer, and as my head bowed, I will say to her, Mistress, you wait for a spirit to answer your call. Who is it you have lost?
Her head comes up and she turns towards you. It is every movement she makes is precise and smooth, like water flowing. And she looks at you and says, I have lost to nothing, to no one. But I come here to remember that those who have made me what I am. Everyone who is fallen beneath my blades. Here, once a year, I remember and recount and tell each of their names.
It must take you a great long time.
The entire length of the festival. Almost. I wonder maybe when I can tell them more names and fit them in between the two gongs, then perhaps my time will come. Superstitious, I know.
Do you not feel any regret for all those whose blood has painted your blade?
I am a scholar. I study. I learn. I search. This is my purpose and my duty.
And at this point, I should speak the names of those that I seek to reach and appease. And I'll start speaking some names, and I think she goes back to her position and starts speaking names, and we both say things, and eventually we both say my father's name at the same time.
As you do that, she is on a standing toe and her hands on her blades in a snapshot as the silk around her snaps in the air. Iron Armed Penitent.
It has been a long time.
I have been told that it is Clear Sky who has the mark on you, Iron Armed Penitent. We do not need to fight today.
You are wrong there. My father's blood stays on your blade. No matter how you may clean it, it will never be removed. This day is a day of filial piety. Piety. I can't even say the word. It is a day of honoring those who have gone before. I swore something to my father. I swore to get vengeance on his killer. And you were here in his sight. But it is not done to fight here. There is a bridge outside this place, between a great chasm. Meet me there later, and we shall finish our dance.
She raises an eyebrow and says, if you choose to meet your father on this day, so be it.
My father is here. I've already met him. And he watches you and smiles as I do this. And I will stand up and I will walk away and I will turn my back to her. And in an instant, the robe that she's wearing falls to the ground. And using my storm rider move, I'm gone.
Good. Okay. Let's close the scene down there. Clear Sky, where do we find you now in the revelry? It has got quite, though somber and sober in some areas, it is more revelrous in others. What sort of area will we find Clear Sky in?
I think Clear Sky has taken a moment to light a small fire of his own towards the edge of the mountain, and he's placed a small, again, a small bowl of this broth down in front of it, and lowers his head for a moment in prayer.
So what is Clear Sky reflecting on? What was an order that the Emperor delivered recently that made you put many to the sword?
I think there had been a revolt over essentially over sort of the rice tax in a small town back in another province, where he had to intervene, and he essentially tried to talk the rebels there into standing down, but they refused, and the soldiers he was with razed the town to the ground, essentially.
Okay. You are disturbed from your moment of prayer by the arrival of Crystal Willow and Ping. Ping, you set eyes upon Clear Sky for the first time, or for the first time in a while. What is your reaction?
What is he doing here?
No, what is your reaction to them? To remind you that Ping, Clear Sky has established you as his rival who has sworn to kill you. So as in, Ping has sworn to kill Clear Sky. So Crystal Willow approaches this man by the fire and says, Clear Sky, you will not believe the fortune of the gods. I have found my sister again. And she then turns to you just before you see Clear Sky's face and says, Sister, this is my lover, Clear Sky. And then you look into the eyes. You can literally see that shout of you both meeting eyes for the first moment between Clear Eye and Ping.
I think Ping's jaw drops and says, "No, it cannot be. Not him."
Clear Sky?
Crystal Willow. Ping, I did not know you were. His eyes like flicker between the two of them. I see it now, I suppose.
Crystal Willow looks between both of you and, realizing her mistake, stands between you and puts her hand and says, You cannot harm each other. Promise me, both of you.
It's like in a conflict. If there ever was one. Let's see. Well, finally I rolled badly. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, that's a 6.
Okay, can I have... I would think Clear Sky needs to make the same in a conflict roll.
I think I'm going to go with probably metal again, to be honest, for this one. And that's a 6 as well.
It's fine.
You both ignore Crystal Willow's demands as you set your eyes on each other. What do you do?
Is there any chairs around here?
Let's say yes.
Yeah, I think Ping says, "No, I cannot stand for this," and grabs the nearest chair. Let's fight.
Clear Sky shakes hands and no, not here. This we cannot break the peace of this place. But he does he takes a step back from the fire and enters a sort of defensive stance, light on his feet, ready to move as he kind of eyes Ping across the fire.
Ping.
Well, I think Ping bites her lip and says, "Very well, outside the city then."
I do not wish this, but I suppose I owe you that much. And he will leap down off of the side of the mountain and sort of float down, specifically sort of away from the side of the mountain that the rest of his archers are on.
Crystal Willow looks to Ping and says, "Sister, you cannot do this."
This man represents everything I'm fighting against. I have to.
His heart wavers. There is goodness in him. He can be redeemed.
I think I look over at Clear Sky and says, "Well, can you?"
I think as Clear Sky exited the scene in David's narration.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
That's cool.
I looked over, like, oh, not there anymore.
Yeah, you could look into the valley and whisper it, I suppose. That's good.
And I think I just jump down after. I go after.
Cool. Okay. Let's go to Tiger Eye as you awake from the fevered dreams, and you can see the hazy spirit of Ming looking at you. And she again looks at Tiger Eye and said, "When you chose the choice was between me or fighting Tian, you chose to fight. Are you even capable of love, Tiger Eye?"
I am capable of honor, Ming, and duty. Love does not enter into it at this point.
You are
And
full
then
of hubris.
And
Oh,
then I turn and run away from her, I guess, because I don't want to talk to her.
It says you turn and she's in front of you again. Said you say you are full of hubris. You are full of anger and revenge. You fall into the path of the fourth master.
You do not know what you speak of, Ming.
I am wiser now that I have seen this other side. You see treachery everywhere. You will not allow your friends to help you. You will not allow those of us to love you. To love you. I can see that I have nothing to cling to this world for anymore, Tiger Eye. When the gong is sounded, I will go beyond, and you will never see me again. So if you have anything to say at all, say it now.
You, when you were alive, Ming, sorry, I loved you for your voice, for your beauty. But I'm often an image, a picture on a wall. And when I met you, who came with me to the rebels, but who could never decide on any course in her life, you followed me to the rebels, but that was not what you did not want to fight. You did not care for justice. You cared for yourself mostly. The love that I had felt for you when I saw you first, that was a dying ember when I made that decision. Because you were not who I had thought you were. Because you were just in the whole thing for yourself. You never cared about people or justice or honor or anything, really. Just care for yourself.
And the tears fall down her eyes. And she says, and this artifice of honor and justice that you have caged yourself in, Tiger Eye, is why you will always be alone.
Artifice, it is what guides my life. And you will never understand that. See that now.
And you will never understand anything but it.
I can live with that. And I view that as a compliment.
So, it is this that is our farewell. Farewell, Tiger Eye.
Farewell, Ming.
And she fades away.
Yes, I think I storm out of the tent or wherever I was to sleep. And I really want to. I don't know what I want to do. I want to go somewhere and be with maybe Y or something. Yes, Y is a perfect person, or Ping maybe. Ping is also good.
Y has been keeping the tented area in safe. He is curled up asleep by the door with an empty wine bowl in his hand.
Okay, I'll leave Y alone then. I go look for Ping maybe.
Okay.
Maybe I can talk to her.
Then we will cut out of this scene and to Iron Armed Penitent and the bridge.
Sorry, go on.
No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Crystal Sky, where were you planning to have your duel with Ping? Would it happen to be a bridge just on the outside of town?
I think we'll not have a queue for the duel on the bridge. I think we'll take that elsewhere in a moment. So I think it's just you and Moonsworn Heart, if that's okay. So Moonsworn Heart is she is standing there in the middle of the bridge both feet are on the ground, her arms are behind her back, and she sees you approach.
I approach with my bow drawn and strung, my hand on an arrow at my hip. It has come to this.
This is your own choice that you have come here to die.
I haven't come here to die. And I will string an arrow and fire it straight up into the sky. And draw another one and put it on my bow. I have not come here to die. And I will aim it at her. I have come here to kill. And I'll loose an arrow.
Okay, we're going into a duel.
Can
Can
I go a bit narrative before we...
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a bit of back and forth. There's a number of different shots I have. I'm very much using Lightfoot style. I'm trying to draw her over to the actual end of the bridge itself. So I'm trying to draw her more and further away from the village.
She is substantially above your scale, and the arrows are knocked out of the air. She sidesteps, and she takes 1 or 2 steps forward, but is almost stone-like in her movement.
So, you betrayed my father. Another arrow goes. She deflects it or cuts it in half or dodges it or whatever. He trusted you. You were his friend. How dare you? Where is your honor?
There is no such thing as friendship. There is only the perfection of the blade and the form. He was on my list. He needed to defeat me, or I needed to defeat him. You remain on my list. But because of your father, I give you one chance to go.
Because of my father, I cannot. And I'll advance and I'll basically come up point blank and jump with, so both my knees come to her chest with the bow drawn. And she's gonna parry this.
So that's fine. So now we definitely need to roll for a duel, but the foe is above your scale.
Dave, just give me 2 seconds.
Sorry, you're breaking up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Is that any better?
No. Sorry, I can see you were trying to say something, Gawain, but you're breaking up heavily there. Let's go back to where you describe your knees coming in. What were you trying to achieve?
Okay, so I came in. She basically bats me away, and I go flying back onto the bridge, and I stand there, and I smile. I'm on your list. I did not come here to die. This is not my day. I suspect it's not yours. But like an arrow fired into the heavens, it will eventually fall. And I'll step back, and the arrow that I fired earlier will come down, and it will shatter the support of the bridge that I'm actually standing on. I'd like to use one of my moves, please.
Sure.
Which is Kid with the Golden Arm.
Sure.
And I actually want to destroy the bridge. With her on one side of it and me on the other.
Go on then. Great. Roll.
Okay, and that's a 10.
With impressive control, you create cracks.
Yes.
Shatter in powder, break later, collapse something massive.
So the arrow that I fired earlier falls down.
Yeah.
Straight through the wood of the bridge itself and goes straight down and shatters one of the support beams. It's a creaking noise as the actual entire bridge falls down, and we jump away from each other as the entire bridge actually collapses into the chasm, and we're on different edges of the bank. Sorry, go on.
No, she grounds to the other side and lands on one knee, swords in her hand, touches the ground, and looks and smiles at you and say, perhaps you are worthy after all.
I know where to fight and where to run. You will not evade me always. You have a list with many names. I have a list with one.
She smiles and says, "You were not top of my list before, Iron Armed Penitent, but we will meet again, and we will meet again soon." And she takes a step back into the darkness, and you lose sight of her.
And I will return to the camp at this point.
Clear Sky and Ping, you jumped out to the outskirts of the camp. Crystal Willow, who's also Eagle Sentinel, has followed you both. Where have you stopped to have this engagement, Clear Sky?
So I think it's a small valley, like a ravine sort of thing, in the side of the mountain. It's got some sort of scrubby trees, gnarled and not particularly leafy, clinging to the sides of it, and quite a fast flowing but shallow mountain stream runs along the bottom of it.
Ping, you arrive. What do you do?
Well, I think I sit down in the chair I've been carrying all this way, and I look over at you. Well, that was a bit further than I am conditioned for, but I'll give you that advantage.
I truly mean what I say. I do not wish to harm you.
You are the lover of my sister, and you are a representative of the Emperor. You're harming me either way.
Perhaps. But I am a man of my word.
Crystal looks at you both and says, Clear Sky, you do turn away from this. Join me in the mountains. You don't need to go back to you don't need to fight my sister. Sister, we have been apart for so long. If you take him from me, we will never be together again.
The madman like him killed our father. If he turns, I won't hurt him. But if he doesn't, we fight.
You must do what you think is right, Ping. And so must I.
At this moment, because you both failed, that means I can make it really bad. The Iron Spider archers take their position on the side of the ravine. There are 12 archers on each side. You can hear their bows creaking and pointing down towards Ping and Crystal in the valley. And you hear the cry of Evening Star Chang, who says, "Ho, magistrate, well done to bring us these. We will take them from here."
Captain, you are not to interfere in this. You and your men are to stand down. I have the matter in hand.
As you wish. Ping.
Excuse me, I have this
Yeah.
move that I can appear in
Yeah.
scenes. So maybe as I was looking for Ping, I might come up behind those archer fellows and see them threaten my friend. And yeah, go ahead, but I will, of course, interfere as soon as I think the time is right.
Agreed. All good. Ping, what do you do?
I charge towards Clear Sky. Clear
So we are going into a PC v PC duel. Okay, to remind us of this, when you challenge another PC, say what you will give them if they accept your victory. This might be earn spent XP, character actions, burning bonds, change of entanglements, and let that other person narrate the moment. So as Ping has started it, I think that means, Mikhail, you need to offer to Clear Sky whether or not he is willing to accept victory, or you will duel to a standstill.
Well, I think this failure thing with your band being here is kind of cool in that way. I think that if you let me win and in front of your band, I won't stand between you and my sister. I will have achieved what I wanted with humiliating you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So yes, I will accept that that offer, and I think so. Yeah. How does Ping come at Clear Sky?
Well, Ping is the unorthodox, so she fights in a very unconventional way. I think we've seen her fight a few times with different furniture, so hence the chair. And I think again this time you're probably caught a bit off guard by the styles. It's a bit difficult to kind of know what she's doing. And I think basically she just throws the chair and it lands behind you, and she just like uses her hands in a very like nimble and quick kind of style. Also not being afraid of using dirty tricks like kicking up dust and stuff like that. Cool. It's a very like practical street fighter kind of style.
Yeah, and as she sort of comes in, I think Clear Sky draws the fan from his belt, and for the moment, just holding it closed, kind of uses it to like block her strikes as she's coming in, fending them off. He's quite very light on his feet as well. Lots of like high leaps up into the air, bouncing off of trees and the like. But it's clear that he's fighting almost purely defensively, not fighting to kind of overpower Ping. And I think at one point he kind of unfurls his fan and uses it to kind of create huge gusts of wind that like blow twigs and stones. Again, more in almost like a shield. But I think at the last moment, I think Ping just like manages to get in under his guard and knocks him back, and pins him against a boulder. And as she pins him down, I think he just leans in and whispers into her ear, Moonsworn Heart is here to kill your sister. You must stop her. I cannot.
Yeah, and I think at that I probably have like I imagine like you have cut up my chair. Actually, like it's just like wooden pieces, and I smack it down right beside your head, and I say, well, you protect her then. I will watch from afar. And I think she looks up at the archers and says, I think you need a new leader. And she runs like towards the Valley of the Thousand Ghosts. And I mean, you feel free to interject, David, as this is your character, but I want to use my move, Monkey Fist Floating Snake here. So when you defeat an enemy foe, you may humiliate them comically if you show them mercy. So if you don't mark XP, instead you gain a bond with them. You may also choose a person or a group who now views your opponent in a different way. Say who and how they now see them. And I think like I want to feel free to say no to this, David, but I want to make the establishment not view you as disloyal, because they saw how like defensive you were fighting, and even though like probably Clear Sky and Ping is on equal like footing fighting wise, it's not how it's viewed from outside.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like that.
Cool. Awesome.
So the archers on the hill then, I think, sneer down. Evening Star Chang looks at Tiger Eye and they uncock their bows and says, there's no need for more violence here tonight. My course of action is clear.
Nice to know somebody whose course of action is clear. I envy your certainty. Even though I will probably kill you before everything is over.
Sort of sneers and says, or maybe I will kill you
I
and
doubt
live
it.
like an emperor for the bounty that is put on your head, Tiger Eye.
Yes, I have heard of that bounty, but living like an emperor? Are you certain you want that?
The slight marks of the corruption on his face that we established in the first session, as he thinks upon it, grow harder, and black and jade colored lines sort of extend out of his eyes, and as he thinks about it.
Something is wrong with you, Evening Star. And I don't mean your politics, but something is wrong with your body. You're betraying the Empire, and the land knows it. Maybe think on that.
He looks to you and then gives the gesture to his men to move out.
Okay.
And I think on that of them moving away at 10 to 1, we'll draw the episode to a close and then move towards Stars and Wishes and dealing with experience and entanglements. Well, okay. So I will stop the broadcast at this point.